Coming up on the Dallas Mavs pregame show, it's a battle of MVP candidates as Luka Doncic and his Mavericks visit Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. All that you need to know about tonight's game and more coming up next year on the Dallas Mavs pregame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, Dlls Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are Dlls Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports, at Bobby Carella. You can always dial up the Stein line for our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, at the Stein line, and our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, at Tim_Cato. Tim at the arena tonight. He'll be joining us during our post-game show a little bit later on this evening, so make sure you're following him for all the game updates for tonight as well. It is a battle of MVP candidates tonight as Nikola Jokic and the streaking Denver Nuggets welcome in your Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and Klay Thompson. Mavericks looking to bounce back after their loss to the Phoenix Suns, in which they finished 2-3 on their 5-game homestand. Let us know how you're feeling about tonight's game with tip-off at 7 o'clock tonight in Denver as the Mavericks begin a 3-game road trip, Bobby Carella. That's how we kick things off on our show as the Mavericks looking to bounce back after the loss to Phoenix, but also begin a 3-game road trip with a tough Denver Nuggets squad tonight.
Yeah, there's no easier place in the NBA to kick off a road trip, right?
Than an altitude, exactly.
It's been a while since they've been on the road. The last time they played a road game, believe it or not, was that game in Minnesota, right?
That's
and
right.
That feels like it was a lifetime ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they come home, they play 5 straight games at home, and you're thinking, what a golden opportunity. Now, right at the beginning of that, right before the first game of that homestand, I said, this is an opportunity, but these are going to be tough games. It's not going to be easy. You got to try and win at least 3 of them. They won 2 of them, and I think left the homestand a lot more pissed off than they entered the homestand. So, you know, they got to fix the vibes. They got to fix the energy. They got to fix people's bodies. This team is way too banged up right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of questions that they're facing right now heading into this road trip. You got a game in Denver tonight, and then obviously on Tuesday you go to Golden State, and that's going to be a whole event.
Yes.
So, you know, it's going to be a pretty tough road trip, man. But, I mean, we'll see what the team is made of.
Shout out to Cam. Shout out to Ronald. We see you here in the chat as well. The Mavericks, of course, at 5-4 on the early portion of the season, 1-1 away from the American Airlines Center. Denver at 6-3, 4-2 at Ball Arena so far this year. 4.5-point favorite tonight going into tonight's game. As Bobby mentioned, Mavericks playing just their 3rd game on the road this season after completing their 5-game homestand, finishing that at 3-2. The Nuggets have been streaking, having won 4 in a row in 6 of their last 7 games after losing their first 2 games to start off the year. They're finishing up their own 5-game homestand tonight with the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks beginning that 3-game road trip with Denver tonight, Golden State on Tuesday, and then on Thursday when they take on the Utah Jazz. 1-1 on the road so far this year. That gets us to our scouting report from our very own Bobby Carella on what we'll need to watch for in tonight's game, and in a game with a lot of star power, obviously led by Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic.
Yeah, 2 things, 1 offense, 1 defense. Offensively, dude, the Joker has taken up his scoring to another level this season. He has just been unbelievable. He's scored at least 23 points in 8 straight games, and I'll get to his stat pretty soon here, but he's averaging for the season 28.9 points per game, which would be a career high by almost 2 points. He scored 23 points or more in 8 straight games, which is already the 4th longest streak of his career. And I'm looking up and down the Mavs roster and trying to find people that can guard him. Daniel Gafford has been in foul trouble basically all season, it feels like, you know, these last couple games in particular. And, you know, the other night, he was in foul trouble. I think he picked up his 5th foul like a minute into the 4th quarter.
That's right.
And that was going up against Yusuf Nurkic, who didn't even post up at all. So Gafford was picking up fouls, just trying to clean up the mess. Tonight, he's going to be trying to clean up messes, but also guard Jokic one-on-one, on the block, on the perimeter. Jokic is not necessarily a stretch 5 in the same way that Miles Turner is, or some of the other bigs that have caused the Mavs problems. in the last couple seasons, but he will step out to the 3-point line and he will knock those shots down too.
Yeah.
So you've got to know where he is at all times. He can face up, high post, low post, mid post, left hand, right hand, back to the basket, face up. It doesn't matter. So Gafford, Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber's coming back. Those guys could be in for a long night. But again, you face the same question that the Mavs faced going into the game against Phoenix, which is, do you want to double team these guys and get the ball out of their hands, or do you want to just let them cook? And I want to go on record against the Nuggets. I am letting Nikola Jokic go for 75 points if he wants to. I've said it for my entire life. But the Mavs have shown a propensity to double team him and to turn the Nuggets into a 3-point shooting team. Now, in the past, KCP would light them up. Jamal Murray's had some decent games. Michael Porter Jr.'s had some really good games. The Nuggets have less shooting, at least in theory, this season than they have in years past. Aaron Gordon is out tonight, and he's probably their weakest shooter, replaced by Peyton Watson, who went 2 for 3 from 3 the other night. He scored double digits in the last 3 games, filling in for Gordon. So we'll see. I'm still not doubling Jokic.
Sure.
I'm playing him straight up and saying, just don't foul him. Don't do anything silly. Now, defensively, the Nuggets blitz Luka more often and show against Luka more often than just about any other team in the league until last season. So go back to 22-23. They blitzed or showed on 101 picks against Luka throughout the course of that season. Last season, they blitzed or showed just 40 times. It was the lowest rate of blitzing or showing per 100 possessions of Luka's career, at least since his rookie season.
Yeah.
So the Nuggets did not put a lot of pressure on Luka, and that bears itself out in his stats against the Nuggets. Career, he averages 9.7 assists against them per game, which is his highest against any Western Conference team. However, he hasn't had a double-digit assist game against the Nuggets in since 2022. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
They turn him into a scorer, which is what I think all defenses should do. So can Kyrie pick it up? Can Luka cook an ISO? Without Aaron Gordon, that's one less guy to defend him. It's going to be a lot of Michael Porter Jr., maybe Christian Brown a little bit, but I like Luka's chances against both those guys. Of course, he was banged up, but he is playing tonight. I'm going to stop rambling soon, but pretty much it's, but if both teams are going to let the MVP candidates play one-on-one, then we'll see which MVP candidate can go off for 40.
Yeah, and obviously for when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, what they've done so far in these last 4 games, number 3 in the NBA in offensive rating at 121.2. We mentioned some of the statistics. Nikola Jokic, of course, 3-time NBA MVP, averaging a triple-double right now at 28.9 points per game. That's 5th in the league. 13.2 rebounds per game. That's number 1 in the association, and averaging 11.3 assists. That is 2nd in the league right now, only behind Trae Young, who's averaging 11.5 assists a game. Oh, that's right. Nikola Jokic is shooting 55% from the field while doing all of this damage on both ends of the floor, especially when it comes to his rebounding so far for the Mavericks. For the Mavericks, though, it's going to be about, can they get off to a better start? The Mavericks are tied for 23rd in the NBA, only scoring 26.3 points on average in the first quarter this year, and are -2 on average in first quarters this season, which is also tied for 23rd in the NBA. And Jason Kidd speaking to that after the game on Friday against the Phoenix Suns, where he laid into his team about the slow starts they are having. And Jason Kidd was not thrilled about the way that his team finished, or started, I should say, against the Phoenix Suns on Friday. Take a listen.
For a reason, off to a slow start. It's got to be addressed. We've talked about it. There's got to be action. There's got to be some energy. Somebody's got to come with some energy. We're flat. So that's where it starts. It's the want. And so understanding the offensive rebound, we got to be tough no matter how many injuries we have or how small we are. The league is small. And right now we're not doing that.
So Jason Kidd, who was not happy at all, you heard it in terms of the expletive-filled tirade that he had in the game, after the game on Friday. That energy, Bobby, needs to be brought tonight, especially against a Denver Nuggets team that is going to be playing in altitude, looking to conclude their 5-game homestand with another win to go to 5-0 on their current homestand. The Mavericks' energy is going to have to be brought tonight against Nikola Jokic and this Nuggets team.
And the Nuggets are fighting, man. They shoot more free throws than any other team in the league, or have the highest free throw rate, or whatever it is. They get to the line a lot. They got role players that play hard. Peyton Watson plays hard. Christian Brown plays hard. Michael Porter Jr. has become a really good defender. He plays hard. Jamal Murray plays hard. Nikola Jokic plays hard. I can go on. Like, this is a hard-playing team. You're playing them at altitude. You're playing them in the mountains. You've played a bunch of back-to-backs recently. You're shorthanded. You're probably pissed off. The Nuggets won 6 out of the last 7. This game gets very uncomfortable very early if you don't bring the juice from the opening tip. The Mavs have been run off the floor in Denver more than once in recent seasons. Those games can get out of hand very quickly, and if you fall behind too far, like they've had the tendency to do early in games, it is really tough to come back because you're gasping for air before you even take the jump ball. So they have got to bring energy. This game has to be competitive from the start, otherwise it could get really out of hand. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you have to play hard. You don't want to be flat, but you're so banged up. You're missing so many defenders. You're missing so many guys. Luka's banged up. He's going to play tonight, but he's banged up. So it's like you got to bring juice, but you can't empty the tank too early. Like it's really weird. They're trying to find the rhythm, man.
Yeah, you got to find some balance in that in terms of the guys that are out, but also your stars showing up as well. They've got to get off to a better start. You mentioned a little bit in terms of how hot Denver has been so far, having won 4 in a row during their 4-game win streak, which includes a win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, by the way. Nuggets are number 1 in the NBA, averaging over 127 points per game, number 2 in the league, shooting over 51% from the field, and number 3 in the league, shooting over 44% from the three-point line. And, oh, by the way, averaging over 33 assists per contest during their 4-game winning streak. That is number 1 in the association. And what's one of the things that the Mavericks have been struggling with so far this year? Keeping teams off the offensive glass. The Nuggets during this 4-game win streak averaging over 13 offensive rebounds per contest. So Daniel Gafford is going to have to be huge on the glass tonight to keep a good Denver Nuggets team off of the offensive glass.
It's not just Gafford, though.
Sure.
It is not just Gafford. You got Christian Brown always cutting to the rim. Peyton Watson can jump 80 inches. They got guys coming off the bench. Michael Porter's almost 7 feet tall or whatever he is. Like, they got a lot of size. They got a lot of athleticism. It cannot just be Gafford. It can't be Gafford. It's got to be Luka. Clay, I need you to mix it up. Hey, Maxi, if you're in the game, Dwight Powell, if you're in the game, I need you to get down there and throw some weight around. Like, this has to be a team effort tonight. Every single time down the floor.
Yeah,
I need 3 or 4 guys boxing out. Like, it's got to be that way.
In 18 career games for Luka Doncic, averaging over 27 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, and nearly 10 assists per contest. Kyrie Irving, not too bad in his career in 19 games against the Nuggets, averaging over 24 points per game. Of course, the last time the Mavericks saw the Denver Nuggets was at the American Airlines Center. The Mavericks and the Nuggets will play each other 4 times this year. In fact, they'll play each other 2 times in a span of 12 days, as the Mavericks will be back in Denver on November the 22nd. Of course, Denver won the season series last year 2-1, winning both games in Denver. The Mavericks, of course, won that game with the shot of the year from Kyrie Irving with that 20-foot left-handed shot that he hit over the outstretched arms of Nikola Jokic in what was a classic game that the Mavericks won 107-105. Luka Doncic that day, 37 points, including that game-time three-pointer with 25 seconds left in what was a terrific basketball game at the AAC. We will see if the Mavericks can produce that kind of magic once again tonight on the road. It will be difficult against this team, but Luka Doncic will be available and good to go for Dallas tonight as they take on Nikola Jokic and a really good Denver Nuggets team. More on this matchup, the X factors, who's in, who's out, and what we'll be looking for in tonight's game between the Mavericks and the Nuggets. And also Tim Cato live from Ball Arena in Denver with his news and notes on what Jason Kidd had to say before tonight's game. But before we get there, we got to talk to you about becoming a diehard member here at DLLS Sports. AllDLLS.com/diehard. Become a diehard member today. For just $7 a month, you can get 20% off events, our member-only Discord as well. Premium content on our website, pregame shows, postgame shows. We've got all kinds of bennies, as my guy Bobby would like to say, when you become a diehard member here at DLLS Sports, including, Bobby, a free t-shirt when you become a member here as well.
Yeah, we got a bunch of shirts to choose from, more than 35 designs. We also got hoodies now. You can't get a free hoodie when you sign up, but the hoodies are really comfortable, and if you become a diehard, you get a discount on those as well. So you have a lot of different choices. You get to join the Discord. You get to read all the content on the site, including post-game analysis, features, columns, opinions, breakdowns, film breakdowns, the whole kit and caboodle on alldlls.com. So click the link in the description below, or just go to alldlls.com/diehard if you want to support what we're doing here. And trust me, you get so many bennies, literally endless bennies, so many bennies. Bennies abound.
All of them you can get by becoming a diehard member. Show off that physical diehard card as well when you get it. Tag us on social media and we'll shout you out here on DLLS Sports. Again, all DLLS.com/diehard. Become a diehard member today. Before we bring in our guy Tim Cato live from Ball Arena in Denver, I want to play this for you real quick because Jason Kidd, who was upset about the start that the Mavericks had against the Phoenix Suns, also not happy with the bench play. That's one thing that's got to show up tonight. Here's what Jason Kidd had to say after Friday's game about the bench and what they've got to do moving forward. Take a listen.
Again, the fatigue of running Luka and Kai, 40-something minutes because our bench stinks right now. And so as deep as we are, we got to get someone to participate off the bench. Somebody has to join the party to help Kai and Luka, and that's just not happening right now. It's a team. It's not just Luka and Kai and Clay. Others have to participate, and that's not happening right now. I played the whole team tonight, and we couldn't find anybody, so we had to leave those two, to carry the load, and that's unfair for those two this early in the season.
As we bring in our guy, Tim Cato, he was so compelled by the words of Jason Kidd that he decided to travel to Denver himself so that he could potentially suit up to play for Dallas. Any luck getting into the locker room, getting your uniform ready for tonight, Tim?
Why would I want to do that? There's no scenario where that would be. I don't think I said that.
You literally texted it. You literally texted
We
us
can
that.
prove that, yeah. I will dox you.
I don't think you could. I don't think I would really have a lot of fun out on a NBA basketball court. I really don't. Not going up against NBA players. I don't think that would be enjoyable. You guys did miss out, though. The entire Nuggets were, pregame huddling right outside the door. Dario Saric walked in here for a second. I probably could have got him on the show.
Ask him to come on.
I wasn't live yet. No, it's gone. The moment passed.
He plays for the Nuggets.
I was hanging out. I was hanging out in a little bubble away from. Yeah, it's over. He's on the court now.
Dang. J Kidd said I played the whole team and couldn't find anybody. Now that's true. The bench the other night was pretty poor, but so many guys on the bench are getting in for like 2-minute shifts, and if they don't make their first shot, then they're done. Like Hardy played 3 minutes and was done. Quentin Grimes came in for a few minutes and was done. And I know like he's trying to find. Omax came in, was done. Kessler Edwards traveled, he was done. Like, how can guys develop a rhythm if they're only getting a couple minutes, or is it just he's just trying everything and just gotta hope that someone comes in and makes their first shot?
I will say, for the most part, when a player gets pulled, it's not because they mess up on offense, it's because they mess up on defense. That is usually the reason that they get the quick hook from Jason Kidd. It's not 100% of the time. Yes, sometimes I don't think Kessler Edwards per se did anything wrong, but he had 2 offensive moments and couldn't succeed on either one of them. But usually it's the defense that they get pulled for, and I think Kidd would argue that it's an attention to detail, that if you're messing up on defense within your first minute of a game, then you were not locked in enough or something to that extent. But yeah, I mean, at some point you have to play these guys a little bit longer. And, Maxi Kleber is back tonight. That changes the rotation a little bit. He is somebody who doesn't mess up on defense and thus has earned the trust of the coaching staff. I know that frustrates some fans. I think to an extent unfairly, just because it's a little bit harder to see sometimes what he's doing well. But it's also that he just is not mistake prone. And I think coaches, and I think Jason Kidd specifically, really get most mad at mistakes and errors rather than the ability to do something super exciting or cool or talented. So that's kind of the scenario on the bench. I mean, which guy that played under 10 minutes or which guy that maybe even who got the 3-minute cameos do you want to see? Would you think would make sense to see for an extended run out today?
No. That's about what I got.
Depends on the nature of the game. Depends on the nature of the game. Because I mean, I think
Quentin Grimes has to be the candidate.
Yeah,
for me.
I mean, Dinwiddie's had some moments this season, but they're going with the Luka, Kyrie, Dinwiddie trio a little too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
Conceptually, I just don't really like that lineup. I would rather, if it's Luka and Kyrie together, and Luka and Kyrie are playing way too many minutes, in my opinion. That's 42 minutes for Luka in a regular season game. That is not good for me. But if they're going to play that much, make the third guy Hardy, make the third guy Grimes. Give me a little more shooting, a little more defense. I mean, that would be what I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. He clearly doesn't want to play Luka and Kyrie that much. He feels like he has to. How else is Luka going to play himself back into shape if he's not, getting minutes on the court?
God, we are in hater mode right now already.
Speaking of Luka Doncic,
what else am I hating?
He's just doing the reporting that he believes he should be doing.
Can I just real quick?
Yes.
I mean, the Luka, Kyrie, Dinwiddie trio, 26 minutes. They are +8 per 100 possessions. So I mean, I guess I stand corrected. But I'm not super into.
It doesn't
I'm
feel
just
that
not
way when they're on
super.
the floor
Yeah, I'm
together.
not super into that trio. Yeah.
Speaking of Luka Doncic, he is available and good to go tonight. He popped up on the injury report with a left groin strain. Of course, we saw him suffer that in the game against the Phoenix Suns, but he is available and ready to play tonight. Dante Exum, of course, remains out. Maxi Kleber, though, is back as he had missed his previous 7 straight games with a right hamstring strain, so part of the rotation he will be a part of tonight. Dereck Lively, but remains out again. He misses his 4th straight game with the right shoulder sprain, and PJ Washington also remains out with a knee injury. He will miss his 3rd straight game for the Dallas Mavericks. Aaron
And
Gordon
Dereck
on the other
Lively had
side.
turned into the Jokic stopper. So that's especially bad news for this matchup. You guys know I'm saying this mostly facetiously, but he had legitimately some great possessions on Jokic last season.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Good God. Cowboys doing postgame in here. It's getting primal in there.
Aaron Gordon is out tonight for the Denver Nuggets. He's got a right calf strain, which gets us to this gentleman, some of our X factors for tonight's game. I see some of you in the chat discussing it in terms of the better start for the Mavericks. Also, the bench play. Can that be better? That's X factor number 1 for me. Can the Mavericks bench step up? They only had 9 points in the game off the bench against the Suns on Friday. And as you heard Jason Kidd say right now, he feels like his bench, quote unquote, stinks. So who's not going to stink up the joint tonight?
Dude.
Vox is going ham. I would be going ham too after what the Cowboys today, but at the same time, hopefully that won't be the case tonight. Who steps up off the bench? We talked about Grimes a little bit. We've obviously talked about some other guys. Is there one guy for you in the chat as well who you feel like can help step up and lead the charge for this bench unit, because they're going to need it tonight?
Maxi?
Oh, was that for me?
I don't know. Tim, what do you think?
Sorry, Eddie Sefko stopped in and distracted me. Yeah, I mean, Maxi is a starting place. He was warming up out there. He looked good. By his standards. I mean, what? Yeah, get Maxi's minutes. Get the start there. That's your backup center. That means that Najee can slide into a slightly different role. That means that it also means that maybe at some point, if Maxi can play 25 minutes and Gafford is doing well, you play them together. And if you have more size on the court with Maxi and Gafford, it makes it a little bit easier to run 3 guards out there at one time. That's a look. Now, I don't think they really have enough minutes to go around with just Gafford and Maxi out there. But I think going forwards, playing Maxi next to a proper center does give them more size that can make up for the fact that, the team is kind of trending small usually when they play 3 guards.
Ardell says gives Omax some minutes tonight. So shout out to you, Bob.
He also said just kidding.
I know. I was kidding. Yes, exactly. But hey, you might have to empty out the bench tonight when it comes to taking on this Nuggets team. Let's get to our next X factor. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Denver has been really good on the glass, especially on the offensive glass in this 4-game win streak, averaging 13 offensive rebounds per game during this win streak. In fact, they're 5th in the NBA overall, averaging the 48 rebounds per contest. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, not just with Daniel Gafford, Tim, but this team collectively crashing the glass tonight to eliminate second chance opportunities, because you do not want to give that to a guy, Nikola Jokic, as good of a passer that he's been, second in the league right now in assists per game. You got to limit second chance opportunities if you're the Dallas Mavericks tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, but that's definitely what Dallas has to do. Its best rebounder isn't on the court. He's not available. Its second best rebounder has to step up and do it, and that's Luka. And then Gafford has to be the rebounder that he's expected to be as, just as the starting center. So, giving this team more shots, more chances is I think the offense is it's not quite gonna be it's not gonna be quite as efficient as it could be with Aaron Gordon out there, and with some of the depth they've obviously lost, that everybody knows they've lost over the past 2 years. I don't think I would double Jokic. I wouldn't go that far. I don't think that's the right move. I think it's really hard to double in the NBA, but I do think that maybe you got to work some in every once in a while. But yeah, just don't give this team, don't give a team that is struggling a little bit offensively too many more chances to make up for that.
You want to know how to limit offensive rebounds in the NBA? Don't get cooked on the perimeter. Let Daniel Gafford box out Jokic. Don't make Daniel Gafford come block some dude's shot or rotate late and not block a shot and not be in position to get a box out, because the Mavs are getting cooked. One dribble, no move, blow-bys on the perimeter where it's
Guard
just guys
your
biting
man.
on pump fakes. Like Clay got worked by Tyus Jones. Luka's been getting beat, and the Pacers game was a layup line in the fourth quarter. Like, you have to have some sort of
resistance on the perimeter.
Some level. Yeah. Resistance is like generous. Like, make them work for it. Make a guy beat you. Don't escort them to the rim. Part of the Mavs' whole defensive identity is, like, if you're going to get beat, at least steer him into your man, into like your rim protector, right? So into Gafford or into Dwight Powell or Maxi or whatever. But, like, dude, you've got to at least steer him. You've got to make him work. If you get beat and can't recover, Gafford is now over here, which means his man is over there.
Yeah.
If they miss the shot, his man is just getting an easy putback.
Mm-hmm.
Or that means Clay's got to rotate over. And Clay's not going to go box out Peyton Watson, dude. Like, have some sort of representation on the perimeter. Defense is not only played around the rim. Mistakes on the perimeter cost you all over the court, not just where you get beat.
From shout out to Ben Selheim, he says, "I'm glad to see Cato survive the Denver cold." You good out there?
Yeah, what was it like, dude? I heard horror stories about flying in there.
It's fine. We went up in the air and we landed.
Well, my guy Skin Wade was tweeting like he was having his life was flashing before his eyes whenever they landed in that thing.
And Ben was just trying to show you some concern. That's all. He was just trying to make sure you was all good and all. That's all.
I didn't know that there's horror stories. I had, I was obviously a little bit worried, but I had the most normal flight of all time.
He's
I'm not
burying
joking.
his trauma.
I got it.
That's what he's doing.
He's downplaying
He's
it. I got
reducing. He's minimizing his stress
I got
levels.
it. That's cool.
I respect
Guys,
that.
It's 60 degrees outside right now.
Is it really?
Okay.
I lost power at my apartment
It's at least
earlier
55.
today.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's okay. It's down to 45, but it was 50 when I walked. It was like 55 when I walked over to the arena. It is now 45 degrees. Okay.
You got a game to go watch.
Hey, we had a high of 62 today.
Okay.
It was pleasant.
Okay. Tim, thank you so much for your all right, get the phone out of here. Go cover the game.
I thought you were about to say something else.
Goodbye, Tim. We'll talk to you after the game,
Tim.
buddy. Bye.
Good luck tonight.
That'll do it for us here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. We'll be back here 15 minutes after the final buzzer. Hopefully the Mavericks don't give me a reason to cuss them out tonight after tonight's game is over with. But you can find out 15 minutes after the final buzzer tonight. We'll be right back here. Tim Cato live from Ball Arena. Mark Stein will be in studio with us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, so you don't want to miss that. For Bobby Carell, I'm Kevin Gray. Appreciate our guy, Tanner. We'll see you after the game as the Mavericks take on the Denver Nuggets on the road. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.